Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to discuss week 23 of 2022. Let's get going. So I'd like to start off as usual by discussing the weather from week 23. The weather started off incredibly rainy. It rained, I believe, Sunday through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Just over like from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we got 5 inches there alone. There was a lot of flash flooding. Any of you folks who were affected by that, I really hope you folks are all right. And now it's getting towards the end of week 23 and it is hot. It looks like the next 2 weeks are going to be in the mid 90s with a heat index over 110. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind as we go forward. Another thing that we had been discussing on the channel is I'm trying to get better at recording some of the daily picking from our gardens. So I remember to do that twice. So let's take a look at those. So as I mentioned, I'm trying to get better about showing what we pick daily, but this here is just an example of sort of an average day that we get from our garden right now. So we are getting a few ground cherries every day. They're delicious. These are those little scallop yellow squashes. I am picking some baby yellow squashes right now because they go really good in our quiche. Just a couple beans, we throw those in the dinner quiche as well. And then with our raw veggie salad, we'll have these carrots and our beet. We'll put an onion in the quiche as well. And then we also have the zucchini to go with it. So I wanted to throw today's morning picking in here real fast as well. I just kind of wanted to show everybody what we're getting on a day-to-day basis. So we have said, you know, of course, we're pulling our carrots as we go. We want them out of the bed by the end of June. We got today, the reason I wanted to do this actually is we got our very first cucumber. So I'm kind of excited about that. We're still getting these scallop squashes daily. A bunch of ground cherries are coming off every day now. We're getting, I don't know, roughly 1 to 2 banana peppers every other day. So those go really great in almost anything. And then another thing anybody who watches knows, these golden wax beans are my favorite things out of the garden. Them and tomatoes. You know, I keep saying that, but I think I love everything, to be honest with you. Nonetheless, we're starting to get these golden wax beans, and that's enough. We'll take those and have them with our dinner tonight. Another thing I wanted to put in this week's vlog is I wanted to remember to tell you folks that we pulled part of our onions and some of the wild garlic that we have curated here on the homestead. The bed that we ended up pulling, of course, was the one that our cats ended up taking all their mice to. So the greens of them had started to die back and things because of the traffic through there, and I was afraid we were going to lose the onions. They came out absolutely fantastic. I believe we got over 50 onions out of that were good size, you know, that were good enough for us to dry and cure. So I'm happy with that. Once they get cured, I'll go ahead and pull them out and we'll count them and I'll show all that stuff. The reason I wanted to throw that into this vlog, however, since we're not showing it though, is because this week we're going to end up probably pulling another one of our onions, and I wanted to show you what they look like real fast. So the next bed of onions that we're going to end up pulling are going to be these right here. You can see the tops are starting to die back a bit. Some of them have some pretty good size to them as well. The ones that we got from the bottom were significantly bigger because I had gone through and sort of cleaned the tops of them off and to find out if they actually do bulb bigger, and it looks like they do. So but these onions here, they will cure really well. You can see they're starting to get the nice skin on the outside that'll help them last through the winter. Let's go take a look at our red Romanian garlic as well. So we had mentioned that we had pulled the wild garlic that we curate here on the homestead, and I wanted to just kind of give an update here on our Romanian red garlic. And we had mentioned a few times that what we're going to try to do is wait for the bottom 3 leaves, so right here, to turn brown before we pull these guys. And the reason that's relevant now is a lot of these ones here on the back row and down here, the second leaf on them has started to brown, and in some occasions, like this one over there, the third one has kind of started to turn as well. So it won't be very long. And what we'll do is we will also, when we pull those, we'll go ahead and pull out these bulbs here. You can see we've gone through and kind of cleaned the tops off of these onions as well. So we could very well end up with over 100 bulbs or onions for, you know, into the late summer and into fall and winter. I hope that they last us that long. I'm not sure how long they'll last when we cure them, but hopefully it's long enough for us to eat all of them. Just a few miscellaneous things before we go too much further in the vlog this week. I just wanted to mention it's going to be hot. I said that earlier. I'm sure where you're at, it's going to be hot as well. It looks like it's all of us are going through this together. Let's just be smart about it. Make sure that we hydrate, you know, that kind of stuff. Work in the shade as often as possible. If you have a big gardening hat, which I use a lot, put that bad boy on. Try to work as early in the morning as you can. In the evenings, it's still too hot. So if you can get out early, even preferably before the sun comes up, I generally will like to get outside about 15 after 4 or so. But if you can't, you know, if you don't like working in the dark or for whatever reason you can't, you can still come out at like 6:15 or so when the sun comes up. And that'll give you plenty of time before it hits 90. And it looks like it's going to be 90 most of this week into next week, right around the 11:30 hour. So if you can work it out, it's probably best for you. The second miscellaneous thing I wanted to throw in here is because we're pulling the onions. Now, not in the smaller beds, the ones that we have just for the garlic and the onions, but the ones in the large bed in the old garden, we're going to take that space and we are going to replace the onions in those with squash. We'll probably do a couple zucchini and then some more of those scallop squash because we really enjoy those. So that's an update as far as the holes that are going to be created from curing the onions. So as we showed in the video earlier, we are starting to get ground cherries and we're starting to get a bunch of them. I just wanted to show this real quick for two reasons. Number one, I cannot get over how many of these are in there. If you look in here, there are these ground cherries literally everywhere. Another thing I saw this morning that I wanted to pass along are these little devils right there. So these are eggs from a squash bug. I saw them earlier on my zucchini. I left these here to kind of show on the video. But what this means is it is time to start getting out in your garden. You can simply take your thumb and they'll wipe right off the leaf. See, you can see those guys right there. I just take them, smash them, throw them on the ground. But again, I just wanted to show everybody what those look like and how simple it is to remove them. Now, if you have this much stuff to go through, it can be a bit time consuming, but do yourself a favor. If you see the eggs, it's that time of year, just go through, be proactive, remove the eggs, and I promise you, it's easier to deal with those than it is a full-on infestation whenever all of those things hatch. And one other thing, and we'll go check out the cherry tomatoes here in a minute, but we were really excited. We came outside and we started looking through our tomatoes here and we noticed this fella is starting to change colors. So that is really exciting. We'll come over and show you the cherry tomatoes we mentioned. We put some work in this week to sort of clean up the bottom of this. I was going to use the natural cover to make sure that we help mulch, but I went ahead, you know, obviously, and put in straw ahead of time. What I ran into was because of the rain and then into the heat with the high humidity, we ended up getting a little bit of blight on the bottoms of these cherry tomatoes, and I decided I didn't even want to risk it. So I took the bottoms out to make sure that we did not have the humidity issues that'll, you know, end up leading to blight. But you can see in here, we have a bunch of cherry tomatoes that are going to be coming off. And like we saw with the other one, we also have some of them that are beginning to change colors. And this one on the backside, that dude in there, he might be ripe by end of the week, which would be really, really exciting for us. We love tomatoes. But real fast, while we're on the topic of the blight, right now If in your area you recently got the rain that just swept across the country and then followed by this crazy heat afterwards, there are two major things that I recommend keeping an eye out for. Whiteflies. Whiteflies are starting to thrive right now. I deal with them daily. Neem oil mixed with Dawn and some water goes a long way to get rid of your whitefly infestations. And when it comes to dealing with blight on your tomatoes, you can, if it's a small infestation, I'll just take the leaves out or whatever. If it's large, if it's on your leaves and stuff and you don't want to trim it, I recommend just using a 1 part hydrogen peroxide to 3 part water solution in a spray bottle. Spray it on there, and what it'll do is it'll just change the pH on that leaf, and it'll help you get rid of the blight on your tomatoes. As usual, I would like to say thank you to all you folks who have stayed with us here till the end. Let me know down in the comments what you're getting from your garden right now. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, and if you have not, please subscribe to the channel. It really does go a long way in helping us out. Until next time, I hope that all you folks take care of yourselves. Peace.